Imagine this. You are carrying a heavy, ancient chest. Its wood splintered and its iron bands rusted. You've carried it for so long that the ache in your muscles has become a part of you, a constant, low hum of background noise you mistake for your own heartbeat. Inside this chest are not treasures, but artifacts of a self you feel obligated to preserve. Every slight you've ever endured, every promise you were forced to make, every version of you that others had projected onto your soul. Now you stand at the edge of a precipice, a vast, silent expanse of ice and snow stretching before you. A voice, both internal and elemental, whispers a single terrifying command: let it go. But what does that even mean? Is it an act of liberation or a form of spiritual surrender? Is it strength or is it a quiet admission of defeat? We are taught to persevere, to hold on, to fight. Letting go feels suspiciously like giving up. So you stand there, paralyzed by the paradox, the weight of the chest, a familiar agony. What if you open it and are defined by what you release? Or worse, what if you open it and find nothing of substance at all? What are you so desperately afraid to set down? And who would you be without this carefully curated pain? The answer is not a simple action, but a descent into the very architecture of your own soul. A journey to the core of why we cling to the very things that poison us. The chest is not an accident. It is a construction meticulously built by a society terrified of the void. We are conditioned to believe our worth is derived from our attachments, our possessions, our resentments, even our suffering. Carl Jung called this the shadow, the repository of all we refuse to acknowledge in ourselves. We lock these disowned parts away, believing we are containing them. Yet it is the box itself that gives them weight and power. We fear that to let go is to become nothing, to vanish into the existential abyss that Jean-Paul Sartre described. So we cling, mistaking the familiar ache of the chains for the solid ground of identity. This is the grand deception, that holding on is a virtue. Friedrich Nietzsche saw this, diagnosing a slave morality born from the transmutation of weakness into a perverse strength. We turn our inability to release pain into a narrative of endurance, a badge of honor. We are haunted by the sunk cost fallacy of the soul, convinced that the time we've invested in our anger, our grief, or our outdated dreams will be wasted if we finally set them down. The box becomes a perverse comfort, a fortress against the terrifying freedom of the unknown. But what is the true cost of this self-imposed prison? And how is it silently scripting the reality you experience every single day? If this exploration of the hidden forces that keep us trapped is resonating with you, subscribe to the channel. We are just beginning to unravel the mechanisms of the mind, and the path ahead reveals how to break them. Let me know in the comments what you've been carrying in your own chest. Your perspective adds to the conversation. This silent scripting manifests everywhere. It is the reason you replay arguments in your mind long after they are over. Your brain's neural pathways carved ever deeper by the acid of resentment. It's the source of that vague, persistent anxiety, your psyche's background hum as it tirelessly guards the vault of past hurts. This is the neurological trap. Your mind, seeking cognitive ease, mistakes the familiar pattern of suffering for safety. It would rather navigate a known hell than an unknown paradise. Culturally, we are conditioned for accumulation, not release. We are taught to build resumes, networks, and fortunes, but never taught the art of spiritual surrender. The consequence is a life lived in a dimmed reality. Your perception narrows to the confines of the chest you carry. You see the world through the rusted keyhole of your own accumulated baggage. New opportunities feel like threats because they do not fit inside the box. Authentic connections falter because you are not truly present. You are in the past, negotiating with ghosts. This is the ultimate cost. You trade the vast, unpredictable landscape of your potential for the cramped, predictable security of your pain. You are living a life of quiet constraint, all while believing you are in control. But what if the key was not to fight the lock, but to realize the door was never truly locked at all. The rebellion begins not with a forceful heave, but with a quiet internal declaration. I am not my possessions. I am not my past. I am not my pain. This is the radical shift. It is not an act of destruction, but of deconstruction. You must, as the Stoics practiced, learn to sharply separate what is within your control, your judgments, your choices, your responses, from what is not, which is nearly everything else. The counterintuitive truth is that you do not open the chest to empty it, but to realize its fundamental emptiness. You examine each artifact, the old grudge, the failed ambition, and ask not, why did this happen to me? But what power does my continued narrative about this event hold over me? This is the path of the archetypal hero, who, like Viktor Frankl in the concentration camps, discovered the ultimate freedom, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. You cease being the prisoner of the story and become the author of your response. You do not fight the lock. You dissolve it with the heat of conscious awareness. This is not passive acceptance, but an active, willful reinterpretation of your own existence. You reclaim the energy once spent on carrying the weight and redirect it toward creation. But this rebellion leads to one final staggering realization, a truth so profound it redefines the very nature of freedom itself. If this blueprint for rebellion feels like a revelation, ensure you don't miss what comes next by subscribing. The final, most profound insight awaits, one that recontextualizes everything we've discussed. I'm curious to hear in the comments, what is the first artifact you feel ready to re-examine after today? The ultimate truth is this: the chest was never real. The weight, the ache, the splintered wood, all were a magnificent, self-created illusion. You are not letting go of something. You were waking up from something. You were disentangling your consciousness from the story of a separate, urban self. This is the paradigm shift that makes everything clear. True letting go is not an action you perform, but a state of being you remember. It is the profound understanding, echoed in Zen and non-dual philosophies, that the you who seems to carry the burden is itself a transient thought, a whisper in the vast, silent expanse of awareness. The final release is into the boundless present. The pristine, icy expanse before you was not a void to be feared, but your own true nature, limitless, untouched, and free. The artifacts in the chest were not your anchors to reality. They were the very obstacles blocking you from it. To let go is to cease identifying with the weather, the storms of emotion, the cold fronts of thought, and to rest as the sky itself, immutable and vast. The journey ends where it began, but you are no longer the one standing at the edge. You are the edge and the expanse and the freedom of the fall. Now, what will you do, unburdened, in this infinite and silent world? If this final truth has shifted something within you, subscribe for more journeys that challenge the very fabric of perception. This is just the beginning of deconstructing the illusions we live by. Let me know your single biggest takeaway in the comments below. How has your understanding of letting go been transformed?